What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for July 21st, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Sunday edition of the podcast. All right, I'm going to need your help here. Usually, I'm the one coming on here saying, breathe, it's going to be okay, nothing to worry about, everything's going to be fine. I'm starting to get a little nervous about the Phillies here. They dropped now their third straight. Now, it's only the second time all season, I believe, they've lost three straight. But the offense just is not looking good at all. I mean, Christopher Sanchez wasn't bad. I mean, they could not get him any run support at all. And it wasn't even like they were close getting run support. And then Strom just was not, which happens. I mean, it honestly, he's been so good all year. He's due for a bad outing or two. But I don't know. Maybe chalk it up to JT coming back and the team getting back adjusted to a different lineup. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just a rough patch. But I'm starting to feel a little concerned here. But maybe you can talk me off the ledge. Maybe I'm overreacting. I mean, this is the way the offense played yesterday. That's the biggest fear with this team because that can happen. And we've seen it happen in the World Series 2 years ago. We saw it happen in the NLCS last year. So I don't know. I think they need bullpen help, but maybe they do need a bat. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on it. Maybe you can talk me off the ledge this time. 267-495-8531. That's the Back to the Future voice and text line. I don't know. But they're back at it this afternoon. Tyler Phillips on the mound today. And truthfully, the offense needs to step it up. By the way, O'Neal Cruz is a stud. I'm a big fan of his. Just haven't really gotten to watch him play that much, but man, that dude can really play. And if they can build the team around him and Paul Skeens, Pirates might actually be good in a couple years. But hopefully this is just a rough patch. Hopefully they come back out today. There's no way they can get swept, I don't think. But it's Sunday and some funky things happen. As I mentioned, JT's back. I don't know if he's going to play again. I would assume he'll probably play again today. Marchand was sent down, so they decided to stick with Stubbs for right now. Maybe some regular hitting in AAA will help Marchand out, and he can come back and help the team later. But we'll see how it goes. But I'm a little nervous. Be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast. They're doing some great things over there. Their baseball podcast is out, and that is available wherever you get your podcasts as well as on YouTube. And I do want to give a quick housekeeping note from yesterday when we were talking about Raul Ibanez becoming the all-time leading homer for players whose last name begins with the letter I. Not sure why I was trying to name Ichiro as a guy who fits into that category because Ichiro is his first name. As I always say, I try to give you the most accurate and up-to-date and factual standings or stats and things I can. But yeah, Ichiro was his first name. Suzuki was his last name. So wanted to make sure I got that out there. And then be sure to go to Philly Goat. Back to school time is coming. I know nobody wants to talk about it or nobody wants to hear it, but it's close. Go check out Philly Goat. Get your gear for school. Load up, getting ready for the Phillies postseason run. Eagles training camp kicks off on Tuesday. We got a great Sixers season coming up. And then the Flyers, I'm telling you, this would be the time to get on the ground floor. But Philly Goat has you covered from top to bottom. So go check them out. Be sure to use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. Sixers will finish up their summer league tonight against the Celtics team. I guess this evening it is. I believe it's on NBA TV. I might try to watch this just to see. I would like to see Ricky Council continue to do well. And I'd like to see McCain have a decent shooting night. Give him that confidence going into training camp and everything. I like I said, I think he's going to be fine because it's a different shooting slump than what we saw with Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons. So I'm not concerned. Shooters are going to shoot. Shooters go through spells like this, so I think he'll be all right. And then an interesting comment from Joe the other day. I guess it was yesterday. I would assume that's when it was. But he did say that if it wasn't for injuries, he could be the GOAT. And when you think about it, just hearing it, you're like, yeah, whatever. But he might be onto something because nobody in the league has ever had his size and talent at that size. I like the confidence with him, though, going into this offseason. I think we're going to see a different Joe because I think it's taken him a while, but I think he's realizing that this is his team. He needs to be the leader of the team. And everything I've seen this offseason so far from him has sort of backed that up. I mean, you certainly could make the argument that with his skill set at his size, if it wasn't for the injuries, maybe not the GOAT, but could have been one of the most. I mean, because when he does play, he is one of the most dominant players in the league. So he might be on to something. And then he went and said the best cheesesteak is from Subway. Always trolling, but I don't think he likes cheesesteaks, which, hey, to each his own. Union with a 3-0 win last night over Nashville down at Subaru Park. That's 2 in a row. Nice little winning streak going. Daniel Gazdog had a hat trick for the Union, who all of a sudden are right there back into the playoff picture. They start the Leagues Cup next week, but good to see them finally with a winning streak, looking good the past 2 games. But Gazdag with the hat trick was huge for them down at Subaru Park. Again, they start the Leagues Cup this weekend, I believe, is when they kick off. So we'll see. Maybe playing in the midseason tournament will allow them to get some momentum build and work some things out. All right, today we're going to go back to 1997. And on this day in 1997, the Phillies lost to the Pirates 3-2 at the Vet. Mickey Morandini went 3 for 5 with a double. Kevin Stocker 2 for 3 with a run scored. Curt Schilling was dominant in this game, went 8 innings, had 15 strikeouts, but gave up 2 home runs in the loss. The 15 strikeouts brought his league-leading total to 191. He would go on to lead the major leagues that year with 319, and that's to this day is still a Phillies record or season record, even more than Lefty. Curt Schilling had 319 in 1997, 15 on this day in 1997. But the game itself was played just hours after the Phillies announced that catcher/right fielder, depending on where he was at the end of his career, he was in right field due to his knees. Darren Daulton was traded on this day to the Marlins for minor leaguer Billy McMullen. Daulton, as we know, was the leader of that 93 team. Played with the Phillies from 83 to 97. He was a 3-time All-Star. Would go on to help the Marlins win that World Series in 97 before he retired. But maybe you could chalk up the Phillies losing that game to losing their emotional leader. One of the best to ever put on the Phillies pinstripes. Darren Daulton was traded on this day in 1997 to the Marlins for outfielder Billy McMullen. Or, not McMillan. McMillan. It doesn't matter. He wasn't good for the Phillies. But he was traded hours before the Phillies lost to the Pirates 3-2. Curt Schilling had 15 Ks in 18 innings, but gave up 2 homers en route to the 3-2 loss. But that all happened on this day in 1997. All right. Today will be the last round of the Sweet 16. This nickname tournament is slowly ending. Will end middle of next week. And then with the Olympics kicking off, we're going to do a little Philly area Olympic spotlight. Talk about the Olympic athletes with Philadelphia ties. But yesterday in the cheesesteak region, it was Chocolate Thunder, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament, continues to roll on, beating the Round Mound of Rebound with 60% of the vote. And then we had a battle in the Ben Franklin, but it was the Boston Strangler edging out Smokin' Joe with 53% of the vote. So Smokin' Joe is out, Charles Barkley is out, and Darryl Dawkins' Chocolate Thunders from Planet Lovetron and Andrew Toney, the Boston Strangler, are moving on to the Elite Eight, which kicks off tomorrow. And in our final Sweet 16 matchup, we have 2 number 2, 3 seed matchups. First, let's go to the Balboa region. The number 2 seed, the Flyin Hawaiian, takes on the number 3 seed, the Minister of Defense. Shane Victorino was a Rule 5 draft pickup of the Phillies. Got called up in September of 2005. That year, he was the Phillies minor league player of the year in 2005. Got his start when the Phillies traded Bobby Abreu, and then became the everyday center fielder when Aaron Rowan was traded or left via free agency before the 2008 season. And one of my all-time favorites, Shane Victorino, just was just a great guy, cool guy, low-key clutch guy. Hitting the grand slam off of CC Sabathia. He had the big homer against the Dodgers, and a very underrated outfield defender. Won 3 Gold Gloves in Philly. And a great story, June of 2007, the Phillies had Shane Victorino Day, where they gave out Shane Victorino. You know how they do the bobbleheads and the little figurines, but Shane Victorino hula figurines they gave out. They flew his dad in from Maui, and Shane Victorino lived up to the hype, hit a walk-off home run in front of his dad on Shane Victorino Day back in 2007, which was huge. And that's just the kind of stuff he did. He got his name, obviously, from his style of play as well as being from Hawaii, and always would do the hand sign. I remember T-shirts being worn with the mahalo on it. But Shane Victorino, the Flyin Hawaiian, the everlasting image when I hear the phrase Flyin Hawaiian is Shane Victorino. I've said it every time he's played. The dive bomb on top of the pile after the 2008 World Series. But Shane Victorino is our number 2 seed out of the Balboa region, taking on one of my all-time favorite Philly athletes, the GOAT, the best pass rusher in NFL history, Reggie White, the Minister of Defense. Led the league in sacks twice, including 1987 when he had 21 sacks in 12 games. Let that sink in for a minute. 21 sacks, 12 games. Now, the record right now, I believe, is like 22 and a half. Reggie White would have smashed that. He may have had 30 sacks if he played in the other 4 games. Remember, in 87, they lost 4 games, 1 because of the strike and then 3 because of replacement players. Imagine if he'd have played a full 16-game season. It's not out of the realm of possibility that he could have very easily gotten close. Anyway, he could have sniffed 30 sacks. So to me, that is why Reggie White is the best pass rusher in NFL history. He's only number 2 on the all-time sack list, but he played 2-3 years in the USFL. And if you add those sacks in, it's not even close to him and Bruce Smith. He got his name because he was an ordained minister, and he's the only guy that would just pound you all game and then say, I'm going to pray for you because of the beating I put on you. He, to me, is on the Eagles' Mount Rushmore, along with Brian Dawkins and Chuck Bednarik. Those 3 are no-brainers, and I'm going to go a little veer off to get your thoughts on this. Those are my 3 guaranteed, no questions asked. B-Dawk, Reggie White, Chuck Bednarik on the Eagles' Mount Rushmore. The 4th one, I mean, I could see an argument for a lot of guys. Steve Van Buren, Jason Kelsey, Donovan, Randall, LaShawn McCoy, Eric Allen. I'm not sure who I would put there. I might go, because of the offense, I might go McNabb because he's the best quarterback and the importance of the position. But let me know your thoughts just randomly on this one. What is your Eagles Mount Rushmore? I know the radio stations do it all the time, but when we're talking about a talent like Reggie White, it obviously comes up in the conversation. But give me that, and who has the better Philly sports nickname? Is it the Flyin Hawaiian? Is it the Minister of Defense? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Leave me a voicemail. Send me a text message. You can also hit me up on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok, at Philly Jimbo on Instagram. Vote on Facebook. Vote on LinkedIn. Whatever you got to do to get that vote in. But this should be another one of those close matchups. The Flyin Hawaiian, the Minister of Defense. Who do you got? Who's got the better Philly sports nickname? And then who's on your Eagles Mount Rushmore? To me, it's not even close. B-Dawk, Bednarik, and Reggie White are 3. They're the locks. The 4th, I can go either way. I can see the argument for a lot. I'm going Donovan, but let me know, who do you got? And then finally, out of the Schuylkill region, this has been the toughest region. This is the one where Concrete Charlie got knocked out already. And I think the top 6 seeds in this region were solid. So today, in our final matchup, we have the number 2 seed, Dr. J, which could possibly have a claim for one of the best nicknames in all of sports. Obviously, one of the best Sixers to ever play. His number 6 is retired in the rafters at the Wells Fargo Center. Hall of Famer. Went to 4 NBA Finals. Won the '83 championship. Known for his dunks. And to me, his most signature play wasn't even a dunk. It was that reverse behind the backboard layup in Game 4 of the Finals in 1980. For you youngsters out there who have never seen it, just look up Dr. J NBA Finals layup, and it'll take you there. One of the most outstanding plays in NBA Finals history, and quite possibly NBA history. So go check it out. And honestly, he was on the recruiting trail for Paul George, and if that pays off dividends, Dr. J might be the greatest Sixer ever. My favorite is AI, but you certainly could make the argument that Dr. J is the greatest Sixer ever. His friend gave him the nickname. He called him Doctor. Dr. J called his friend, I believe it was Professor. So the name Doctor just stuck. He won the MVP in 1981. He's on the 35th, 50th, and 75th NBA All-Anniversary team. Possibly the best player to ever come out of the ABA. He is their all-time MVP. The Sixers, the Nets, and UMass all retired his number, but Dr. J is the number 2 seed today out of the Schuylkill region. Excuse me. And the number 3 seed in the Schuylkill region is Chooch. Carlos Ruiz got his name from Antonio Alfonseca, who called him Chooch because it's an underarm smell, and they were just busting balls, and it ended up sticking. But Chooch was a rock behind the plate that he controlled and really helped the Phillies pitching staff be what it was. It didn't matter whether it was Cole Hamels, Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, they all talked about Chooch and just the way he could call a game. He caught 4 no-hitters. He was a fan favorite. To me, very underrated defensively, and I can't believe, as we've been going through this tournament, that he never won a Gold Glove. He definitely is another one of those low-key clutch guys, probably even more low-key than Victorino. He would come through with a big hit, hit possibly the shortest game-winning home run in World Series history when he hit that little dribbler, and Eric Bruntlett scored from third. I believe that was Game 3. But like I said, fan favorite, World Series champion. He's in the Philadelphia Sports Hall of Fame and was just the rock and the leader of that pitching staff during this time frame. So Chooch is our number 3 seed, but it's your turn now. Who's got the better Philly sports nickname? Is it Dr. J or is it Chooch? Get that vote in. And then we got the Flyin Hawaiian and the Minister of Defense. What a great way to end the Sweet 16. Get those votes in, 267-495-8531. Get you in on the Back to the Future voice and text line, or hit me up on any of my social media. Also, give me your Eagles Mount Rushmore, just for shits and giggles, just because I gave you mine, but maybe I'm wrong. And please, talk me off the ledge. Am I overreacting to 2 games and 3 games, I guess, if you count the A's game before the All-Star break? Am I overreacting? Or do I have a legitimate cause for concern? Let me know that. On this day in 1997, Phillies lost to the Pirates 3-2. Curt Schilling struck out 15 in 8 innings, but gave up 2 home runs in a 3-2 loss. On the same day that the Phillies traded away catcher Darren Daulton to the Marlins for Billy McMillan. Not the Billy McMillan that used to play for the Eagles, but Billy McMillan from the Marlins. Daulton would go on to win the World Series with the Marlins before he retired, but all-time fan favorite Darren Daulton was traded on this day in 1997. Phils need to calm my nerves because they're going out to Minnesota next. I need them to win this game today. I'm probably going to hammer them on the money line, possibly even the run line today, and probably get killed on it, but that's the way it goes. Eagles training camp kicks off on Tuesday. Things are going to start picking up around here, and then we have a sprint toward the end of the summer. But try to go out today. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Go out and enjoy your Sunday. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 21st, 2024. I'm Jim Montgomery, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.